Hi, I'm Shai here at Justworks. What is exempt versus non-exempt? When you're onboarding new U.S. employees, they will need to be classified as exempt or non-exempt to remain compliant with federal and state laws. I'm going to share some guidelines for assigning an exempt versus non-exempt status to each employee, and I'll also share some advice for setting hourly wages and salaries. First, let's walk through the differences between non-exempt and exempt employees. These terms come from the FLSA. FLSA stands for the Fair Labor Standards Act. This regulation states that non-exempt employees need to be paid at least a minimum wage and receive overtime if they work over 40 hours in a week. In most cases, employees who receive overtime payments will make 1.5 times their normal pay rate. Some states will have special requirements for minimum wage and overtime, in addition to the requirements in the FLSA. On the other hand, exempt employees are not subject to minimum wage or overtime requirements. This means a salaried exempt employee could work 40, 50, or even 70 hours in a week and still receive the same fixed salary without additional pay for hours worked beyond 40. When determining if an employee is exempt, two key factors come into play: their job duties and their salary. What job duties classify an employee as exempt? Common exempt job duties, as defined by the Department of Labor, include teachers, professionals practicing law or medicine, executive employees, computer professionals, and outside sales professionals. This highlights just a few of the many job duties outlined by the Department of Labor. Next, let's look at how an employee's salary and hourly wage affect their exemption status. Federal law under the FLSA, along with the state regulations, has set a minimum salary requirement for exempt employees at no less than $684 per week. Depending on the employee's job duties and salary amount, a salaried employee could be non-exempt, which means they'll be eligible to receive overtime. Hourly employees may also qualify as exempt employees depending on their job duties and wages. Federal law requires hourly wage requirements for some job responsibilities. For instance, exempt hourly computer employees should be paid at least $27.63 per hour. Outside of hourly wage requirements for specific job responsibilities, the federal minimum hourly wage is $7.25 an hour. Quite a few states, including Arizona, Colorado, Maine, Washington, and others, require employees to be paid higher minimum wages than the federal government. You can look up each state's minimum wage using this map on the Department of Labor's website. As you consider an employee's exemption status, keep in mind that there are several states, such as California, Florida, New York, and more, that require exempt salaries and minimum hourly wages to be higher than the federal requirements. Check out this article that outlines updated salary requirements for each state. Use this table as a handy resource to find your employee state and ensure compliance with the minimum wage and salary requirements. And that's it for the difference between exempt and non-exempt employees. To ensure you remain compliant, make sure you look up salary and minimum wage requirements for the states where your employees work.